Okay, Rick. Now, can you tell us about the whiteboard story, please?
Well, my biggest win was in 2018, last year now, isn't it? About April time. And every Sunday I usually sell little bits of my action. See, in poker, you don't just play with your own money, as I've mentioned before, but if you're not being staked in a long-term operation, what you can do is you might cost you 5,000-6,000 in the tournament schedule on Sunday, made up of about 30 tournaments. Instead, I might say I'll sell 30% of my action and I'll mark it up at 1.2 or 1.25. So basically, they're paying a premium. So they're paying 25% the premium. So say if it's 5,000, they're paying 1.25. They're paying 25% more on that for 10%. So they're paying 625 or whatever they are for 10% instead of the 500 it should be. So I sold 30 or 40% that weekend. Like, still hanging my head. Why didn't I just gamble? And a few people took action and managed to win 715,000. Finished second in like one of the biggest tournaments online that year from 55,000 players. So everyone was, you were due in these big ones, but obviously very, very lucky. Like you could be the best player in the world by 30 times and you're still not going to get anywhere near the top 100. Obviously loads of times, and obviously that was a happy moment, even that to give like nearly 45% of it away.
Now, I was quite surprised when I heard about this stakeholders thing. So can you explain just a little bit more how it works and why it's beneficial to a player?
Well, it just offsets variance a lot, especially if you're playing on a Sunday. Sunday's the biggest day. It's basically the same as NFL, where it's like Sunday's 5 times bigger than any other day midweek. So on Sunday, my schedule's usually like 5 or 6k buy-ins on a Sunday. So I'll spend $6,000 on a Sunday in tournament buy-ins, which will be 35, maybe 40 tournaments. And if I decide that, I've had a bad week, or I don't know, maybe just in case I run bad, you can run bad and still lose even though you're favourite, obviously, even over that many tournaments. So I'll say if I sell 30% at 1.2 or 1.3, then it doesn't actually cost me much for my 70. So I'll do it like that, and if I lose and brick out the complete session and end up losing 3,000 or 4,000, it's not cost me much personally, and you can just do it like that.
So is it like a legally binding contract? Is it all gentlemen's agreements? Do you trust each other?
Most of it's gentlemen's agreements, really. I know there's one of my friends, he's got they call them stables actually, and they call the players the jockeys, and the stables. So one of the big poker stables, he makes people sign a contract, but whether that's legally binding or not, I'm not really sure. I'm not aware of many poker players being taken to court over not paying. There's been a lot of people who've stolen money from people who stake them and stuff. A lot of controversy there, but I don't know if anyone's been able to take into court about paying back loss of like money that they've lost on the felt. I'm not sure, because obviously they still class poker as a gambling game, tax free, since the horse racing tax got abolished in 97? Yeah, so poker's still tax free, so the government still think it's a game of chance. So and I'm here arguing it's not, which is probably not beneficial, but no one's going to be watching me and don't care what I think,
Well, people watching this might be thinking, hang on a minute, I might like a bit of that action. I mean, are they invited to contact you and say, look, I'm willing to back you, or you keep it within your mates? No,
I keep it within. It's the same way with some of my horses that I'll tell a few people, but when you get like muggles involved, who don't know the game, they're like, that was a tip. Like, give them a 33-1 shot, have a little bit each way. That was nearer last than first. What's that? What are you doing there? They don't understand that it's probably going to win 9 times out of 33 instead of 1 out of 33, and they just don't understand that it's just a value thing. So I don't really like people who aren't in racing getting involved in the racing queue that I have, and I don't like people not in poker getting involved because it's just harder to explain. And people in poker, you don't have to give them explanations. They know if you've had a bad night. There's no post-mortems, there's no non-asks and non-given.
Well, I'm told that you're, with this grinder thing, you want to win and you want to win money. You're not interested in the spotlight.
No, I've never really been, maybe when I first got in the game, one of my first big tournaments was on Channel 4 actually, back in 2007 for Grosvenor. one of the Grosvenor Tour events, and that was on Channel 4, and I was like, oh, I bet you're excited, and I wasn't really. It's still about the money for me now. I'll just go where the money is and try and play the best things that are most profitable for me, and not chase, because if you chase the big results, a lot of the time you'll end up getting skint. So yeah, just play what I know I can beat, and consistently, and just try and stay focused and healthy-ish, and just try and do the best I can.
So does the live playing eyeball to eyeball with somebody in online poker differ in strategy and the mindset you need?
Yeah, definitely different strategy. I mean, when you're playing live, you're obviously sat in a casino playing for 12, 13 hours on one table, and the action is just a bit too slow for me. I think my optimal probably online's 10 tables, and it's faster online. Obviously, there's no one shuffling the cards, and there's no one taking ages with the chips, and there's no one having a chat and missing a hand and having to be told to play. It's just instant. It's like every 4 seconds you've got a hand on, or every 2 seconds you've got a hand somewhere to think about. So online, your brain's constantly active, whereas on live, in real life, you've got to kind of rein yourself in a bit. I have to rein myself in a lot, because the moves that I want to make online, in real life, the moves I want to make, they're just probably not the right things to do, but sometimes out of boredom, because going from 10, 12 tables online regularly to one table live is that is a grind. You know, not the online stuff, that's easy. A 12, 13 hour poker session feels like 2 hours, it really does, because I enjoy it, and the music and everything. I know I'm doing well, and if I have a good night, so be it. I don't really get hung up if I have a losing night. So, cause losing nights are probably 50-50 of the time, and winning the 50, so you can't really get too down if you lose, because otherwise you'd just be depressed half the time.
Right. So how many hours would you spend a week in front of that computer screen?
Now, I've got 2 stepkids and a little baby now, so 5 days a week, and I'd start at 4 and then play till 4 a.m, so 12 hours, 60 hours probably, maybe a bit more. I used to do 80, 90 hour weeks, but now I've obviously got a few more things I've got to do around the house and stuff, and a few things that the kids like to do. I've got to take them on, and time with my girlfriend as well, which is important.
Now, that's a lot of time in front of a computer screen even now. I mean, do you regret spending 13 years in a solitary occupation like that? The best 13 years of your life, some would say.
Well, not really. I'd like it if there was a bit of balance where you could actually be a bit more sociable. Yeah, but it's just not possible. And the money that I've got from poker has allowed me to do things that I'd never be able to afford doing a normal, in inverted commas, job. I've been to Vegas, Bahamas, Australia, just off the back of poker, but I wouldn't swap it for anything. It is a downside of it. You are spending a lot of time on your own, but it kind of gets your mind. What's the word for it now? It gets your mind tuned, and you can be on your own now in the house for 3 hours without. Although a lot of people get stir crazy and they need constant companionship or company, and I can be with this. It's given me a thing where I can just have 4 hours on my own in complete bliss and not worry about anything. It's actually improved my mental state a lot, poker.
Okay, when I was doing my research on you, a name Chris Mormon,
yeah.
Sorry, and he is well known in the poker scene. Can you tell us a little bit about his involvement with you, or your involvement with him?
Yeah, he was first started playing about 2004. He was like the greatest, probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, online tournament players ever. He got to 10 million cashes, probably like 33 million profit, but 10 million cashes about 4 or 5 years ago now. He's just so far in front of everybody. And he had a stable, didn't go well for him, lost millions and millions, built back from nothing. He's just really, really like an inspiration in the poker world, and really good lad. I was best man at his wedding a few years ago in LA, that was good. Yeah, he's probably the call him the GOAT now, greatest of all time in England, online for sure at the moment. He might get overtaken. He's living in Vegas with his wife now, so he doesn't get to play as much as everyone else, and probably getting overtaken in a few years in skill wise. I don't think anyone will beat the amount he's cashed for a long time.
Did you learn from him?
Oh, I learnt loads from him. We used to have the old MSN Messenger, now it's Skype or another software on the computer to chat with people. And on MSN Messenger, there's 4 or 5 of us there, and just learnt so much just watching. And what did you have in that hand? He'd tell you on MSN, be like, oh, why did he do it that way? How did he do it that way? Why didn't he do it the way I was thinking? You know, it's all about questioning yourself all the time, poker, and am I doing it right or are they? And there's a lot of imitation as well. You see someone winning a lot, doing a lot of things. You think, well, let me just try that and see why. Try and find out why they're doing it.
Now you mentioned that sort of thing. Now, can people trust the online games, that there isn't collusion going on?
No, there's going to be some of it. I can't really tell you otherwise. There's too much money in the game now. There'll be people like 25, 30 on a Skype chat group, a bit like WhatsApp. Most people know Skype, I guess, the viewers, but like a WhatsApp group online, basically. And they'll have 30 people, and they'll just be helping you out. Not so much collusion, but they call it ghosting, where a player will get into the last 10 or 20 in a big like tournament where it's 100, 200,000 for the winner, and they'll be getting help off a professional, like a real strong professional. Where you're playing against a screen name online, you think it's this guy. Check his caches, he's had no big caches. You think he's probably an amateur, whereas you're playing against one of the best in the world. So you never know who you're playing against a lot. So that does scare a lot of people away. I've always stuck to the maxim that if you're better than the people that are ghosting, then you've got nothing to worry about, you know. So I always just try and improve my game and don't really care who's playing.
How about playing against robots?
Yeah, there's a few of those as well. Yeah, I can usually spot them quite well actually, because they always take the same amount of time to act. And there's some occasions in poker where you've got to either fold fast or call really fast, depending on what hand you've got. And some guys just 10 seconds act, and it's something they've programmed in, so they act at a certain time. And then they'll be playing on a final, and there'll be something ridiculous happening, and you just know that the guy's not playing, because if you was watching what was going on, because it's not all about the mathematics of it. Sometimes there's things in game where there might be some player sat out, or it might be some guy who's playing crazy, and you wouldn't be playing hands against him until he's out, but yet this guy keeps raising the same amount at the same time, and you can just, a lot of them have been banned, but they'll still carry on because there's so much money in the game.
Is there anything that the online firms can do to stop it?
Yeah, I know one of the sites is actually probably getting one of the best programmers in the world to actually find a device that can spot other people using the device. So it's kind of a more advanced technological way of, you know, in the casino when they get the old cheats, looking down at the players, seeing if they're cheating as well. They're kind of getting some programming that detects people who are cheating. So that'd be brilliant if that took off.
Okay, now we don't want to put people off. This is the last bit of the poker section. We don't want to put people off having a go at online poker. So are there any resources or websites or anything out there for people that they can learn and have half a chance against people like you?
Yeah, Grosvenor Poker site's as good as any, grosvenorpoker.com. If you go on there and have a little look, and it'll tell you the rules of the game, and it'll give you, or go on YouTube and check some videos out. There's so much poker on telly, and every site's got its beginner guide and stuff, and you can go to nights where it's like a 5. You don't have to play for big stakes. It's a really, really fun game, especially if you've got a little bit of gambling about you and you like a bit of a bet now and again. I mean, a lot of the old school poker players came from like the pool background or a gambling background, whereas now they're mostly university educated and sharper cookies really to start with. But back in my day, it was pool and bandit players and stuff. One of my mates was started off being a quiz game guy, and then he went from that to a bandit player, then a pool player, then a greyhound tipster, and now he's playing poker. So there's a lot of people in gambling who would really enjoy poker, and you can spend a tenner and chance to win a grand. It'll take you like 4 hours if you've got a bit of time to do something. You can relax and play.
So jump on board, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, jump on board.